It is a spring cleaning time at FWA, and we are getting into all of those hard to reach spaces. Except today. Today's space is maybe easier to reach. We are talking about cleaning up your workspace, which is probably the topic that I was most excited to share and present with you. This is my love language, having a clean and an organized and colorful and representative of yourself space is my love language for sure. And it wasn't until in our old house my husband built a space where I could have an at-home workspace, but in our new home, we each have our own spaces for our office, and I have an office at a school, and I also have my studio. So I have kind of these three workspaces and could not be happier with that jam. So I know, especially in the last year, a lot more people started working from home or worked from home, and any space became a workspace, right? The kitchen table, the kitchen counter, the couch, the deck, the porch, any space that was open became a workspace. And that was fine. And the novelty of it, I think, was probably kind of cool at first. Like, oh, I'm going to make this my workspace today. And I love the flexibility of having anything be your workspace. And I love that we can make that happen now with just, you don't have this big clunky computer on your desk. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you do. I know in the last year I have certainly upgraded a lot of my technology. So I'm able to really, really truthfully work from anywhere. And that's a great thing. But there's this productivity and this flow that happens when you're in a designated space. Your mind starts to make this shift. When you come to this particular space, it's like, okay, she's serious. We're getting work done today. So if you don't already have a space, one of my tips is to designate a space. And we'll kind of jump into all of that in a minute. A cluttered workspace really leads to a cluttered mind. So I know that I have friends, and they're probably going to try to defend themselves on here saying, it's organized chaos. I legit know where everything is. Maybe, but looking at it is a little bit stressful when you have piles of papers and just random things. Maybe at home, your designated workspace is your dining room table or your kitchen table, and unfortunately you have to share it with other people. So it just becomes kind of this like catch-all space. We're going to stop that this year. We're just going to stop. We're going to pull back those layers. We're going to move things off of your space. We're going to clean it off. We're going to sanitize it, and we're going to designate it as your particular area. An organized workspace can lead to more productivity. It can boost your mood. Like, oh, how amazing is it? I mean, one of my things, and my colleagues will attest to this, I have to clear off my desk at the end of every day. Like, I cannot have things on it that are like to-do lists or anything. Like, I have to clear my mind, because the next day that I come back to it, my mood is boosted and elevated by this fresh space to work in. So it can really help with this beautiful transition to spring. I'm looking outside my window. It can help with building energy. It can make you not have such a bad case of the Mondays. All of those things are what we're looking for when we are clearing up our workspace. So I have a lot of tips because I said this is my love language, and I'm gonna post this as well. So if you're more of a visual, need to see the words, I will absolutely share that link with you. But we're just gonna dive in because I have a lot of tips. So I've got 9 tips. All right, the first thing, and I kind of already alluded to it, is designate a space. So if you don't have a space in your home already that is designated for work, create one. It doesn't have to be fancy. We're very lucky in our new house to have separate offices. I have a whole room that I got to put together. But maybe you have a piece of the table or the end of the kitchen counter or an alcove, or I've seen people do crazy things like turn an upstairs closet into like a little like walk-in desk area. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be fancy, but designate that space if you haven't done so already. Especially if you're still working in your home, you're not able to get into your office. If you, or your office is no longer a thing. I've heard that happen so much where people are like, this whole working from home thing is great and we don't have to pay for an office space, so we'll continue to do that. Cool. But now you need to get serious. So part of your spring cleaning, if you haven't already done this, is to designate a space in your home that allows you to sit down and do the work that you need to do. Another thing, either with creating that space or re-examining your existing space, is considering your workflow. What are the 3 to 4 most important tasks that you do in a day? And if you look at your desk, does it reflect that? It's great to have this beautiful space, and I am all about the eye candy, the pleasing space, the color coordination. But if your workspace does not consider your workflow, it's pointless. It's like that treadmill in the corner that's gonna collect your clothes, right? I know it is. Maybe not this past year. I heard a lot of people say, I pulled the clothes off my treadmill and started using it again. So let's let that happen to your workspace. So think about what function your workspace needs to serve and what kinds of things you need to complete, and make sure your space reflects that. Dust and sanitize. 'Tis the season to get into all the corners, to sanitize everything. I don't care what kind of cleaner you use, and please don't try to sell me something. I'm not going to buy it. I have my own things that I love to use. I'm very, very stuck on certain things. So this is the time to actually take everything off of that space, to clean it, to sanitize it, and then when you decide to put things back, clean them off as well. And go back to number 2, consider that workflow. Does that thing really need to come back onto your desk? I also like to think about all the senses in my workspace. So not only is it visually appealing, but does it smell good? I love to have a nice scent in my diffuser. I like to add like a plant, a photo of my husband. So consider all of those different things as you're setting up that workspace or refreshing that workspace for the new season. Is it time to put a new photo in the frame? Is it time to grab a new plant? All of those different things. Okay, here's a good one. Less is more. I have seen some pretty cluttered desks. I have to give myself I have to calm down for a second. When you're building your workspace, less is more. I know that you might have 3 to 4 tasks, but consider my current desk has 2 shallow drawers. I'm actually getting a different desk already. I just set this up a year ago and I'm already getting a different desk. It's coming tomorrow. But maybe you need some shallow drawers to hide away some tools that are really necessary for your job. Don't put them on top of the desk, put them in something and make it appealing, right? The less that you have on your actual workspace, the better, because then your mind isn't like, oh, look at that thing I have, or oh, look at that, let me play with that, let me do this, let me do that. You're gonna be more productive if you have fewer things on that actual desk. So with that, consider working up, right? Getting some shelving. I love my little displays, so I put shelves up. I love a good floating shelf, so go up. Don't think about putting things on your actual desk, work up. Dry erase board, pegboard, bulletin board, shelves, anything like that where you can store things up, make it look visually appealing, and it's not cluttering your actual tabletop space. This next one is super important. Ditch the desk tray. You know what I mean. The one, maybe you have 3 of them because they're usually sold in 3s, where you put a paper in one, you put a paper in one, you put a paper in one, all of a sudden they're full of papers and you don't even know what's in there. The moment that I got rid of a desk paper tray was liberating. All of a sudden, I wasn't holding on to paperwork And that's one of those, like, if you want to get really into spring cleaning, you've got to go through your papers. You've got to go through your files. I didn't put that on there because it takes a little time. But if you have random papers, random post-its all over your desk space, you're distracted, you're not producing like the best potential flow, it's just going to be a crappy workplace for you. So think about not having those papers on your desk. Now, I know it might be essential for the job that you do, so create a little filing system. I have this really cute, you can probably see it. I have this really cute little filing cabinet. Like, that's a filing cabinet. It's so cute because I do have some papers that I have to hold on to for my job. So I have a cute little filing system. It's one drawer. One. That's all you get. Not 4 drawers, you get 1 drawer. And that way you have to be really, really like mindful about the papers that you are keeping and filing away, not just filing things to have them. It's time to get rid of that stuff. It's time to get rid of it this year. If there's anything you can scan and put into, a drive, do that. All right, I have 2 more. Cord management is key. So this is something that I genuinely did not even think about. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. I genuinely didn't think about until I married my husband. He is a cord managing king. So what I mean by that is like all of the little clutter, like maybe you have 5 cords that run to your computer and they're all like jumbled up. What he would do is pull them back. He would put them in a cute like little neat coil, put a little twisty tie on it. If there's something that runs along the wall, he will put those little things into it. He will even go up into the attic and drop a line down so that he can put it in from behind and it's not like hanging. Like our television doesn't have a hanging cord. It's in the wall. So that's one of like the quickest things you could probably do is consider your cord management. Don't let things just hang all over the place. I keep my desk in the center of the room, and because of that, I'm not near an outlet. So I actually put my cords away every night. Which might seem like a pain to you, but it's visually pleasing for me. So I only pull them out whenever I actually need to charge something. So, and like any other cords I have, like a lamp or anything, they are against the wall. But that's a really quick visual way to spruce up your space, is to manage your cords. Coil them up, put a little twisty tie on them, consider like, can I get a shorter cord for this? Do I need an 8-foot cord for a space that really only needs a 3-foot cord? It's a couple of bucks at the hardware store and it will make such a difference. If you like color, you can also get colorful cords. I don't know. I just like standard like white or black. But it really changed my space when I started to look at the cords. And they like collect dust. So the more you can keep them like coiled or tuck them away, the better it's going to look and feel in your workspace. Whew, I'm so excited. I love this topic so much. I've just flown through all of those things. But my last one is a fun one. So this is one that I think anybody can get behind when it comes to cleaning up your workspace. I'll show you because visual people. Do you know what this is? This was 10 minutes of going through my markers and my pens to make sure they still worked. So if nothing else, go through your tools and check and see, do these markers still work? Do these pens still work? What am I using? What tools am I utilizing? And, test them out. It'll take a couple minutes and it was kind of fun to like color it all up. And I got rid of a few markers because they were all dried out. And I also store my markers upside down because that really helps. I don't look at this. I'm ridiculous. That helps to keep them fresh for longer. So store them upside down if you can. And it makes them more colorful. Look how pretty this looks. I like to store them upside down. This is also a good time to make sure to change the photo on your desk, to make sure you have staples in your stapler. Like just do all of those little pieces. If nothing else, that will make you feel better. If you're not in the mood to like go through a big clean, although it's totally good to do every quarter, like a big cleaning, like just take it all off, put it all back on. And the beauty of taking things off your space and putting them back on, usually something doesn't make the cut. Something you're looking at it like, why is this here? I had that moment actually yesterday. I was prepping for today and I looked at something and I was like, why do I have this on my desk? I don't actually use it every single day. It just takes up space. It's an eyesore. So I put it in another spot and I'm looking at it and it's like, it serves such a better purpose in the spot that I put it. So go figure. So this is a chance to just take everything off, sanitize, clean, put it back, make sure it has purpose, make sure it's adding to your workflow. Look at maybe putting in some pegboard or some shelving to work up instead of having things cluttering that space. Ditch that desk tray. We don't need those papers anymore. Maybe choose a new pattern or a color. I'm like all about bright, fun patterns right now. So I'm actually refreshing some of my items to match a little bit. I love a good pattern, but like use it sparingly. Don't make everything a pattern. Take a pattern and I took a pattern and then I pulled a color from it, and that's what I did. So I have some like block colors and a couple of patterns. But yeah, again, this is my love language. So I'd love to know what tips and tricks you use for refreshing or spring cleaning your workspace. Please share, because somebody else might take it and be like, yes, that's exactly what I need to do. Or if you have questions about what to do, or should I keep this, not keep that, I'm very, very good at that. I have moved 21 times in my life and I have no issues throwing things away or repurposing them or donating them. I'm very, very good at all that stuff. So I would love your questions. Let's keep chatting. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me for my favorite love language, spring cleaning your workspace. We have one more spring cleaning episode after this if you're watching them in order. And yeah, happy spring. Happy officially spring. Bye.